make much sense.
Yeah, on a one-base map like this, it's kind of strange, but maybe he's just not going to play it as a one-base map. We'll have to see. Without further ado, we have started our grand finals of the January campaign Week 3 map draft. We have ChipFromSpace to the west of the map, playing as Hopper in red for now, and ZenoAkoop as Bellafeed in blue to the east. On the map, the red basket, which, as we've seen today, was a very, very close set of one-base games so far, but ZenoAkoop might be up to something here.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that the metagame is maybe to, it's the first game, you can try and maybe maul your enemy just to offset him of his plans, make up a metagame of the series, right, with the moles.
Yeah.
Or it could be a return of the squirrel mole, maybe the moles, everyone has forgotten about how much the moles can tank.
Yeah, definitely. I think players were experimenting with it yesterday during the Strawberry Cup.
Yeah, no cheese here. ZenoAkoop going for 7 farm into Squirrel. ChipFromSpace going for 8 farm into Squirrel.
Selling.
Yeah, ZenoAkoop sold a farm. He is going to go for a Squirrel mole, it looks like. But with this tiny map, ChipFromSpace is just going to scout it right away. So he knows something is up.
Chip has MG Nest in case of emergency.
Yep. Zeno does have the... Zeno has the barbed wire, which may or may not come into play. If he's going to be aggressive, it might be tricky to actually make that barbed wire work. And here we go. We have...
The trick to the cheese is exploiting this hilltop, which I did in my practice games a lot. I used to do MG Rush, but you can do basically anything because this hilltop serves as a good attack pointer.
Yeah, Zeno is going to go for 2 moles, looks like.
I think Falcons getting Falcons now is really, really scary, and that may cost the game.
Yeah, he has to hold this push very nicely. 1 mole is going to go down, but there is a Warren down already. The second mole does get completely destroyed, and Zeno loses his commander, so these squirrels are going to eventually die. Kind of scattered fire will take out, not quite take out a pig, kind of unfortunate. Zeno losing his commander there was probably not what he wanted, but he did kill 2 Warrens.
Back.
Yeah, that's 120 food lost for ChipFromSpace, but ZenoAkoop losing his entire army in response.
And losing the 2 mobs, which aren't coming back, so definitely have to keep that in mind. Now, Chip is going to start pulling ahead in army value with this Falcon out, the second one on the way. Zeno's mounting another attack, and Chip is going to scout it out just in time, seeing that 1 lone squirrel. Chip isn't quite in position, so this mole is going to start hammering away at this Warren, doing bonus damage, does get taken out. The Falcon is in the front, Chip pulling it back just in time. 2 more shots and it would have been down. It does go down, so there's now a mole and 2 squirrels against a bunch of defending units with the pigs from
This
Chip.
should be end of Zeno.
Yeah, he tried twice and it didn't quite do enough damage.
Losing commander is really problematic if you're trying these plays.
Going a bit too far forward perhaps on Zeno, so it's going to be Chip taking game 1. Zeno trying to do something fancy, and it didn't quite work. So with that, Zeno is going to be picking the next side we're playing on, so we'll see which map Chip wants to play on next. And Zeno definitely trying something different there. Not what we expect on this map from what we've seen, so very fast, very exciting game.
All right,
the next map was Wizard Lagoon.
Seems to be one of the more stable maps. I think this is personally, if I can understand Zeno's train of thought, I think this would be his favorite map. We will have to see.
I think I had.
We'll just have to figure out who can change the map seed. Not AV. Not me. We'll just... okay.
Alright, AV had it. Yep.
AV had it. We have remade a map. Perfectly fine. Nothing going wrong here. It is fine. Zeno has picked Hopper for this map, so Chip will just switch to Bellafeed, and then we are good to go. ChipFromSpace up 1-0 in this best of 7, so we do have quite a few games to go. I'm guessing Zeno isn't going to go for moles again.
I think his owl deck is coming to come in play here with MGs and all that stuff. And maybe Chip can even bring out a wolf if the game allows it.
We will see. We haven't really seen the wolf in action so far, though a few players have picked it. Alright.
Mole Pigeon from ChipFromSpace. First 2 picks.
Interesting. On this map, I'm not sure it can work, but hey, Chip's been on a pretty hot streak so far, so see if it works.
ZenoAkoop going back to a few tournaments ago, going for his 3 tier 2, 1 tier 1, 1 tier 3, and the structure.
Maybe that was Zeno's goal all along, force the Chip to try the mole stuff himself, and maybe...
force Chip into suboptimal picks.
You know, maybe drop a coin flip on the first game, then, you know... Maybe Chip, maybe suggesting that Chip should do something cheesy as well, you know.
Yeah,
And it is. His deck is pretty irregular with snakes and Badger there. Although Badger is a good damage dealer after all.
Chip has not taken squirrels or lizards.
Or toads.
Or toads.
So his only tier 1 is the mole and the pigeon, so we'll see how that works out. He does have the MG nest to defend, so we'll see if that can be enough. Okay, so...
Yeah, introduce.
We have ZenoAkoop as Hopper, so the players have switched commands again. ZenoAkoop as Hopper to the south of the map, and then we have ChipFromSpace as Bellafeed in blue, all the way in the north on Lizard Lagoon. We've seen this map a few times, and there's no balloons this time, so we may be looking at a different game, and no fox either.
What I'm thinking is Chip is probably going for either eco build or maybe trying to go for mole rush right away. Other options would include, having pigeons, snakes, and then transitioning into Badger.
This looks like a mole rush with pigeon support to me.
Zeno has MG nest, so he should be theoretically okay.
But the moles do have bonus damage against the MGs, so Chip, he's going to try this. He has his first pigeon coming. So pigeon is going to fly its way over. I don't think it's going
to work. It shouldn't.
Yeah. We'll see. Zeno dropped 1 farm, putting it back up there. But he's got 2 machine guns, and they cover the entirety of that opening.
Yeah, these machine guns are just tearing through Chip's command.
Zeno making a good decision of selling the farm. I think if he goes too greedy, he may actually lose to the moles and pigeons.
Chip, he's going to try it. 1 mole goes in. It heals a little bit, but it will go down. The second mole is going to go down. The third mole is also going to go down, but... Okay, that was not a good trade for Chip. Trading 3 moles and a pigeon for a single MG nest. So now Zeno, he didn't have any units yet, so he can't attack right away, but he has been farming for quite a bit longer than Chip, so the mole rush, pretty much a failure for ChipFromSpace. So now, we'll see what Zeno's response is to this.
This reminds me of some bronze matches in the past. So far.
Definitely, yeah. It is the best of 7, so there is some room to
play with, yeah.
Definitely seems what both players are going for now. So Zeno is on 2 tier 1 warrants, is going Falcons and an expansion, whereas Chip doesn't have any units currently because he doesn't have squirrels or lizards, so he will have to build a tier 2. He's going to opt for Falcons. Faking a rally there. Interesting. Even though he has no units. So Zeno has the choice to either go very far ahead in economy, which seems to be what he's going for.
Yeah, Chip slowly pulling back there, but...
Chip taking a rally. Very nice.
Come my army, join me in this furious battle. Alright, I'm going
Mind games. Perhaps forcing Zeno to build less farms than maybe he wants to. Didn't sell anything though. Not panicking at all. Right, so Chip is going to get his first actual unit out, and the next one is going to be a Badger, which Zeno will scout. There is a tier 3 Warren going up.
Zeno doesn't have any units to break the MG nests on the high ground, so he needs both Falcons and Ferrets.
He's going to go for an Owl though, because he did scout the tier 3 from Chip. Probably not expecting the Badger though. Then again, the Owl does fine against the Badger, I think. 2 MGs from Chip to deny any sort of aggression, which is going to work out. Looks like the Badger time is going to be pretty good. Warren's finishing, and he does have the food to start building the Badger.
I think Badger is better than Owl. Actually, if the mice is running, the Badger can start spinning up, before.
True.
And if it pops, it's only a coin flip whether it will kill, depending on circumstances, right? Whether it will kill the Badger or not.
Definitely not what I expected to see on this map, but it is what we're getting. So Chip is working with the fact that there are so few places to build Warrens. He's just going to go Badger, Falcon, and Pigeons. And that's going to be his composition to try and break Zeno's economic advantage, pretty much. Zeno has a 2 MG nest up, so fairly strong defensive position. But in terms of firepower, I think they're fairly evenly matched.
Zeno has the advantage because he now has 4 machine guns out on, or 5 machine guns out in the field. He's blocked off that western pass into his expansion, so no sneaky sneaks for ChipFromSpace this time.
ChipFromSpace is sold his Falcons, is building an expansion, and is building a second Badger, because why not?
ZenoAkoop very far ahead in terms of economy, and we're about to hit that 5-minute mark, which means the first 4 farms of each base will farm out.
Yeah, I don't think Chip's game plan extended beyond 3 or 4 minutes, because he's sort of trying to improvise here, trying to catch up in some economy, but Zeno's been ahead for a
Double
long time.
Badger isn't much of an improvisation. It's actually, it can chew through a lot of stuff with ease. Double Badgers, when they spin up, it's just massacre, generally.
Especially with some mice out front, they will get in front and allow the Badgers to spin up a little bit faster than they would otherwise.
Yep, second Badger is about 15 seconds from finishing now, and Chip does have all these farms queued, so he will have some economy. Zeno's building a second Owl and is just happy to get himself, keep himself ahead pretty much. Is adding on a lot of Falcons, so just going for a lot of DPS in this army. Because the only thing that can deal damage for Chip are these 2 Badgers. Now, if Chip hadn't had a Wolf, it could be very interesting, but right now I think Zeno's army is just a little bit too strong for him.
Chip with 2 Badgers and just putting down Pigeons, because why not?
The heals do stack, so there is a chance, but
It requires some finesse with a micro, actually, to keep the Badgers alive.
yeah, it's definitely Badgers are an interesting unit where you have to keep them firing on the move and somehow keep the flock of pigeons, currently 11, that's going to be up to 24 once this is all said and done, up against up to 10 falcons, 2 ferrets, 2 owls, and a bunch of squirrels. Because no armies
You
can
have
take
to
them out
remember that
squirrels.
squirrels can, if the Zeno doesn't micro on Badgers correctly, the squirrels will open fire on pigeons. And 24 pigeons, it's a lot of pigeons to kill, actually.
Yeah, that's very true. The only thing he really has to kill those are those falcons and pigeons. Oh, it looks like Zeno is moving his owls, but moving his falcons actually, so there is going to be a fight. So ferret shots landing, only taking out 1 farm so far. Pig is not going to dodge, and here comes the march of the Badgers. So Chip is slowly moving forward, but there is a lot of water here, so the Badgers are standing their ground. Pigeons dying left, right, and center. The first owl does die. Most pigeons are actually dead, so the Badgers are so slow they aren't going to be able to retreat, and Zeno has all of his units still alive, except for the owls. And that's going to be a game.
Yeah, falcons deal a lot of damage.
ChipFromSpace pretty much behind the entire game after a fairly failed mole rush. And that's going to be 1-1. We have a best of 5 to play between these 2 players. So we figure out what is going to be the next map. Alright. So with that, both players have 1 point, so we can
The
be
dream
playing.
of the all 7 maps is still on.
Maybe.
All right, next map is going to be Trench, and Chip is going to take
Some
see what
commander.
his decision.
That was so far we've seen some very different strategies on both of these maps than what we've maybe expected. Just waiting for Chip to select his commander here. Believe we
I don't
do
think
have
we're
the
going to
Siege
see
sets.
moles now.
There is a chance that we don't see moles.
All right, Chip has selected Belafide as his commander of choice, which means ZenoAkoop is going to be his favorite Hopper Red in the Northwest.
Alright. We are ready to get into game number 3 then. Let's both players do ready up. And then we can start match on the trench. So there's going to be, I believe, this was Zeno won this game against Bloater, unless I don't remember correctly. This was this was where Bloater started a Fox Warren, but he then sold it. But Zeno still managed to punish the investment. So Zeno has a fairly good history on this map. So we will see if he can do that again. And Chip is going to go for the... Oh, not going to go for the Badger. And what was that you said about moles?
Zeno trying to keep the mind games alive.
Yeah, it's
He did. I think it was really weird that Chip went for moles second game. You know, deviated
been.
his plan.
might have been a bit of fan service, you know, doing one for the boys, play some moles. We'll see if the moles come into play this time. Perhaps going with moles is your only
Chips
tier 1.
played chameleons before, or
Yeah,
Not
once.
in this tournament, or maybe once.
Not in this set, but I believe in the last against Zeno.
Alright, so we do have the match underway. We have ZenoAkoop playing as Hopper to the west, the northwest of the map, and then to the east we have ChipFromSpace as Belafide, and we have a Mole Rush. We
Right.
actually have a Mole Rush.
Mole Rush at 17 seconds from ZenoAkoop. Not even
because
putting
players
on that,
don't scout there.
Exploiting
you scout?
this farm position is a race against the clock for this mole. Oh, okay. 1 for 1. I guess this is kind of in Zeno's favor.
A little bit in ZenoAkoop's favor, about 51% net worth to 49 right now. If he had been able to keep that mole alive, it would have been a lot better. But obviously,
1 mole against a farm is just not quite enough to kill it and get away, even though he had the right angle for it. Nicely played from Zeno. And Chip building an MG nest just in case, because he saw Zeno's commander hiding up there. Alright, so looks like Zeno is going to be... Well, both players are actually fairly even on economy. Yeah, dead even actually. Zeno is ahead for 2 food, which is probably not going to matter. Some dancing going on. The swag wave, I like it. No one has built any units yet.
This will boil down to maybe a quick tier 3.
Chip going
then
chameleon first.
Not a bad choice by any tier 2s.
No, it's definitely one of the more versatile tier 2s. Them and snakes, I think. And Zeno is just going to go for a bunch of squirrels, because why not? And then choosing to add 1 falcons, which is definitely going to do great against those chameleons once they do reveal themselves. So Chip going for double chameleon, but does not have pigeons to back them up, so if he can't keep them alive, I think this might be risky. Question is, what does he reinforce his army with? I think the answer is just more chameleons. This, for some reason, these finals feel like a bronze match so far.
yeah, a lot of cheese. Both players perhaps winning not too much in the past, so willing to play a few more fun games. Considering
It's
it's the best of
definitely interesting. Chip has 3 chameleons alive right now. It's sort of moving them around a bit, but not doing much. Chip so far having a tier 2 only army, which I must say I approve of. And Zeno is going to go for an owl at before 3 minutes. So again, very non-standard game so far. Chip does give in to the temptation and build squirrels. And is starting to move his chameleons around, and it doesn't look like Zeno's going to scout this, so there are chameleons on Zeno's side of the map. The question is, where will they go? on the high ground, of course. I'm gonna start a little campfire, and Zeno probably realizes that Chip has chameleons here. But this is, it's pretty interesting, I must say. I'm guessing Chip is waiting for Zeno to move out, and then the chameleons can move in.
Yeah, that's right. He wants to bait him out.
This could be a base race from Chip. It's very true. He's going to add in more falcons, whereas Zeno's owl is on the way, so it's going to be done in about 25 seconds. And that is probably the cue for ZenoAkoop to go on the offensive. With that owl, he can let it die aggressively, so he gets a bunch more mice, because Chip's defense isn't all that strong currently. We will see what he tends to go
I think
for.
once Chip is ready for the base race, he will definitely add some MGs if his plan is the base
Moving
race.
the chameleons to the other hill, because they got tired of the view. And but the base race may not work because Zeno is building another base, and Chip doesn't have it scouted. Is going to see it now though.
Yeah, Chip
This
ever
kind
so
of-
slightly ahead in terms of army value. But both players equal on income.
Chameleons are moving though.
Chameleons are moving in. They are being forced to move, so it looks like Chip is either going to be sniping the Owl Warren. That's exactly what he's going to go for. He's going to try and snipe his Owl Warren. He does get it. One chameleon goes down. But as long as... Okay, Commander dies, so unfortunately, these chameleons will get taken out as well.
Yeah, not a great trade there. Looks like about 50-50 according to the
And
network
a
graph,
nice
but army value.
switch to double wolf from Chip as well.
Yeah, it's Chip selling his chameleons and going for 2 wolves. Probably, yeah, he's going to grab a base as well, because we have hit the 5-minute mark. He does have enough food, I think, to get these 2 wolves out. But this is pretty scary. Whether or not, if Zeno pushes with this, despite not having an Owl Warren, the Owl is still on the field.
He's gonna force Chip to spend food on stuff and, not going to have Echo while the Zeno has Echo.
Chip sold 1 wolf, and is opting for falcons instead. Does have food to start building the wolf, so it's going to be up in about 35 seconds from now. And the mice are sort of harassing. Zeno is going to add in some ferrets. Yeah, so like you say, he's probably adding in the ferrets to add some pressure here. And Chip is getting another base, despite being very low on income.
Chip is on timer here. He needs to force something since the Zeno's economy is kicking in right now, and Chip is starving at the moment, and he had all those falcon productions, which he can't really sustain, to be honest.
Oh yeah, we'll have
You
to
can
sell
see
some
that
falcons here.
He's some red or sell the wolf, or try to go really aggressive and try to kill that.
Yeah, I think he
bunch with
needs the
ton of
wolf
falcons.
to. I think he needs the wolf to make this work. Zeno will see the wolf. Doesn't quite lose his commander, though these falcons are pretty damn quick. So now, what does Chip sell? Because he will need some. Will need food. With this wolf buffing the pigs, farm up just a bit faster as well.
Speedy falcons are always amusing to watch.
Yep,
Not
they
quite
just
as good as
exactly
Wolves on
right.
the
Zeno's ahead here. If he's willing to push, not defend, I think he realizes he's in a good position, although he's being very careful with his attack here.
Yeah, Zeno's been very, very careful. I think that's the name of the game so far. He does have a huge economic lead right now. But if his owl dies, he can't get a new one.
He only needs to kill the Expo, and if he does, which he can,
True.
it's
see
set. It should be it. Although he's playing very careful, as you can see.
Just using the mice. Okay, here comes the fight. The falcons from Chip are doing a lot of damage. They will kill the owl, but there's only 3 of them alive right now. They are being buffed by a wolf. Only 1 of them gets out. Now Chip is starving, and he will throw in the towel. Very quick ending to what was a slow build-up.
Yeah, it was almost in Chip's favor for a little bit, but then ZenoAkoop kind of fell back a little bit, built some more units, and by all measures, every graph was ahead.
Very, very interesting plays here on these maps from both players. We'll see what they pick next.
Chip picking moles now?
Probably.
Well, it
ZenoAkoop
went well
is
for
up.
Zeno.
It did work out this time. ZenoAkoop is up 2-1 in this best of 7.
Interesting fact that's being brought to our attention that with the same seed and with the same commanders is the same farm spawn. So ZenoAkoop knew that Chip was going to have that cross pattern of farms.
Interesting.
To go straight for the mole rush.
Players definitely clever enough to figure that out. We will wait as the players decide which map they want to play and which position.
All right, it is going to be roundabout.
Okay,
Our
map which
next
we've
map.
only seen once so far, which Chip did end up beating Zeno on earlier. So we are going to see a rematch on the same map. We have to wait for Chip to decide which commander he wants to go with. And then we will be good to go.
All right, ChipFromSpace is going to go for Hopper in this game 4.
We have the map seed set, so we are good to go. Just have to they have to switch commanders before we start. There we go. Alright, so we will have a switch in colors. And then we are good to go for game 4 of this best of 7 between ChipFromSpace and ZenoAkoop. ZenoAkoop being up 2-1. So if he
Zeno
can
very
win,
decisive with his deck. Knows what he wants to do.
definitely knows what he wants to do. Completely different to what we saw from him last time, though he is playing on the Hopper spawn rather than the Battlefield spawn. Which is
I'd like to
from last
point
time.
out that Zeno is using the magic trick versus Chip, which is barbed wire, since Chip's main deck doesn't have anything to kill barbed wire. Although this is an open map, I think it may be very, very good. And it's actually cheaper than mine's, so I think Zeno can definitely benefit from placing good barbed wires here.
Alright, so we have ZenoAkoop playing as blue and Bellafeed this time, so different from last match, to the south of the map. And then in the north we have ChipFromSpace playing as Hopper on our map Roundabout. Yes, Roundabout is the name. So, see, actually I mentioned that they had different commanders compared to the last time they played this map, which is not true, because Zeno was playing Bellafeed as well. They just have completely different unit compositions this time. Zeno had landmines on this map the previous time, but is opting for the barbed wire now, which, with Chip not really having a melee unit, definitely feels like the right play. Looks like 7 farm from Zeno, whereas Chip is going to go for 8 farm Warren. But on a map this large, I feel like 7 farm Warren might even be a mistake.
For Zeno to win, he doesn't need to be much too greedy, since it's possibly the best way to lose him.
Nice dancing going on. Some very nice in sync. Zeno's actually getting quite a bit of food here. And Chip is
He's
delaying
going for
his
tier
burn.
2 maybe.
Yeah, but Chip is delaying his timing quite a bit. Zeno's going up to 180 food before he can place anything. 190, hitting that 200 mark, and immediately plopping down 2 Squirrel Warrens, 3 Squirrel Warrens. So there's going to be some time before he gets an army up. Maybe dancing just a bit too much, but we'll see if Chip can realize what's going on. There's definitely a window he could exploit, but it doesn't look like he's going to go for it.
I think Zeno can defend with a couple of well-placed barbed wires around us. He does have food for it.
True. And Zeno is going to add in tier 2 first. It's going to be those Falcons. There's Chip heading back to base now. And we'll see what he decides to build. There's going to be pigeons first, and then some toads.
It looks like Chip is going for one base, kind of all in play, or at least, getting really hardcore.
With 7 tier 1 Warrens, definitely seems like a very strong one base attack.
And Zeno realizes that and responds with the barbed wire, which is very correct.
Yep, just nice and evenly spread out. Not too much, I don't think. Also positioning it nicely around the clumps of trees, which would stop Chip's movement. Chip can go all the way to the west here, but his units would be in kind of an awkward position. But we did see from Chip the last time they played this map.
Chip is trying to get maybe a fox even,
Yeah, definitely.
because
It's
that's the
gonna
only way
fox
he
it.
can win versus barbed wire.
Then again, there is a point where there's just too much barbed wire for the fox to be effective. But Zeno will probably have to expand before he can get to that point, and neither player has a base right now, or has a second base right now.
Another thing Chip could try is maybe buy expansion up there, and maybe set up a offensive position there, since Zeno is way too up in his base.
Yeah, looks like
You
Chip is-
can't kill him in his base, but you can try to limit his expansion options.
Yeah.
But this side's the back.
Both players
No.
going for an expansion. Go on.
Yeah, ChipFromSpace has no melee units, so cannot take out the barbed
Yep.
wire in front of Xeno's base.
Yep, we have. We mentioned at the start of the series that this seems to be the ChipFromSpace counter, as he doesn't tend to run melee units at all. But the fox is on the way. Xeno has an owl building. He's getting a little bit later than Chip's tier 3. And farm-wise, Xeno's going to be ahead just a little bit, but not that much. So
It's being
gonna
matched now.
Yeah, it's good. It's being matched. So both players very even in terms of army value. Exactly even, I think, with one tier 3, the same amount of tier 1, the same amount invested in defensive units. And Xeno scouting what Chip's tier 3 is does pay with his life, but it's definitely worthwhile information, knowing that it is going to be a fox. And that's going to be Chip's cue to go. Moving his fox forward. Looks like he's getting into position and going around the south, where there is no barbed wire. Looks like he picked up a squirrel and then just hit some mice. But the owl definitely showing that it's useful against the fox here. So as long as Xeno doesn't lose any falcons, which he does lose a falcon there, that's not good. So the fox is definitely done some damage now, despite shooting a bunch of mice. It's gotten a few squirrels, and killing a falcon was really bad. Almost gets another one, but there was a mouse spawning just in time. And Xeno's going to go for a second owl. So it's definitely going to have a pretty big meat shield against all these units, and Chip was floating quite a bit of food, microing his fox this much. But it's going to pull ahead in economy, it looks like, because Xeno did go for that second tier 3 Warren.
And going for farms now.
Oh, very nice play from Chip. He's just going to take out these 2 pigs. There we go, drive-by shooting. It's in the news. And Xeno's selling his farm, so now it's up to Xeno to do a one-base play with double owl. And Chip is going to have to defend with a fox, which isn't the best defensive unit, but he is getting some falcons behind it. So now Xeno is on a timer, I think. Oh, but now these mice will chase the fox all the way back. Let's be a little bit careful. Okay. Chip not giving up. And looks like Xeno has
moving
his
out.
2 owls, so he's moving out. He's on 1 farm, so if Chip can survive long enough, Xeno is just gonna be out of time. Chip is gonna have most of his falcons alive. Warrens are gonna take some damage, but the fox goes down for Chip. Xeno loses 1 owl. Is gonna lose a second owl almost. It is gonna live for quite a while. There's a lot of mice on the fields. Xeno is starving, but Chip might be just pulling ahead of this fight. The Falcon Warren's tanking a lot of damage, and with that, I think Xeno is gonna have to give up. I think the Falcon Warren placement there, tanking so much damage, allowing for Chip's Falcons to just keep firing, and Xeno ran out of steam. That was a quick end. Pretty crazy.
Nice
That is-
build up.
It was a nice build-up, true. It's gonna tie the series 2-2. So we are looking at a best of 3, with only 3 more maps to play. The Fox didn't really do anything in the last fight, as pointed out, but the Falcon Warrens tanked enough damage for Chip's Falcons to do what they needed to do. See what the next map is going to be. We only have 3 maps left to pick in this series, which I believe is Hilltop, Nomad's Pass, and No Tail's Land.
All right, and it will be Nomad's Pass.
Okay.
ZenoAkoop's going for Hopper, red, which is in the southeast. which means Chip from Space is going to be blue Bellafeed in the northwest.
Just gonna wait for the seed to be set here. And it is Nomad's Pass. Just waiting for everything to be set up, and then we're good to go. And we've talked about this in the previous series, but this is definitely the map where Bellafeed is on a timer and has to break through Hopper's line of defense wherever that may be. And we saw from Zeno that he definitely knew how to play this map earlier. He did take the win against Bloater on this map, I do believe.
Yes, that's correct.
Alright, so just waiting for Chip to ready up. There we go. And let's get this 5th game going. I'm expecting Zeno to get some form of defensive structure. There we go. It is the MG nest.
Lizards!
It's
lizards here.
New unit confirmed. No tier 3 this time. And Chip is going to get some toads. Even though there haven't been any lizards recently, is still going to get those safety toads and an MG nest of his own.
Yeah, good read from Chip from Space there. Although toads are useful in that composition anyway.
So wait for the map to load, and here we go. We have ZenoAkoop as Hopper to the south of the map, and Chip from Space in the northwest as a Bellafeed. And this is going to be Chip from Space has about 5 minutes to win this game. Would you say that's correct?
I think that's correct, more or less. It also depends on Zeno, rather taking defensive base or offensive, but I will think that taking offensive base is much more better for this map.
Yeah, it seemed to work for him last time, so I imagine he's going to do the same thing.
It was pretty sketchy there with below the reinforcing.
It was true, yeah, but maybe he knows to place the MG nest in a slightly different position now. But then again, it might open Chip for going around the north side rather than the south side. So we'll have to see how he adapts. Alright, looks like 8 farm for Chip, and Xeno's going to go for 7 farm Warren.
Yep.
Xeno seems to be favoring the 7 farm over the 8, even though this map is fairly large, I think. It takes a while to get to your opponent's base. So we will see how this ends up playing out. Xeno is waiting to see which kind of tier 1 Chip goes for, I think. He's going to stack up some food here, so Chip is not going to waste any time, just add on more Warrens. Xeno does have 120 food, so has to add in some squirrels and some lizards. So we'll see if Chip can scout these lizards and maybe add in some toads, or if he's just going to go with more squirrels.
I don't think the Xeno is going to use much lizards in his build, just a little bit.
Yeah, I think Chip has been grabbing toads regardless for a few matches now. Well, you say that, but Xeno is adding in a total of 9 lizards now.
I think he's gambling on the fact that Chip may not pick toads, but
or
as soon as Chip realizes that whole dynamic is going to change.
Yeah, Chip doesn't have any toads
drop the
building
lizards
yet. There we go, so he's going to just build his first toads now.
This map is not great for any kind of lizard wraparound, unless...
The hard point is in establishing now.
Yep, Xeno pushing forward, gonna grab that forward base, as we saw him do against Bloater. And Chip just building up his forces. Is building up to 6 toads, and is gonna have a slight army lead because Xeno is going for this base, so looks like Chip is gonna try and deny this right away. He's have 12 squirrels and a bunch of toads.
It should be definitely in Xeno's favor.
Yeah, the toads
especially with the lizards, and he did hide.
Yeah, toads did not do anything that fight. So,
and shutting down Chip here, and then establishing a hard point without much consistency. This spells end for Chip, I think.
Yeah, Chip,
this could be right here, unless
placing
Chip can pull a magic.
Xeno places MG in a slightly different position, and adding on a 3rd even, and Chip does not have ferrets to deal with this. this fight has to work out for Chip. He does get some good toad hits, but now the MG nest is going to be up. Chip has slightly more squirrels than Zeno, so he can take this fight if he doesn't run into the MG nest, but he has to be careful, since that is a lot of firepower on that defensive line.
Zeno's still at about twice the army value of Chip has been throughout that whole engagement because of those machine guns, and a little bit ahead in terms of net worth as well, about 2%.
But Chip
Floating
has,
a lot of food. Zeno's floating a lot of food.
yeah, Zeno is floating up to 300 food, which may end up costing him quite a bit. Kind of indecisive what he wants to do with it, realizing now that he hasn't been using his food, plops down a bunch of squirrel warrens and a bunch of farms, but Chip does actually have quite a big army here. Zeno sold his lizards, which is why he was floating so much food earlier. So now, Chip, using his toads to tank some of the MG nest damage, is going to try and expand. He has cleaned up 2 of these MGs, but Zeno's reinforcements are starting to come in. Zeno is selling farms, building farms, not quite deciding what he wants to do.
He realized that he may be in a lot more trouble than he expected,
Yeah.
although fight on his way.
Taking out a Warren here does Chip. Got some good toad hits, and now he has more squirrels than Zeno. Even though he's fighting on Zeno's turf, does take out a Warren. So Chip might actually be in a position to do this. Is going to start losing some reinforcements to this turret, though, so has to be careful.
Zeno has a lot more reinforcement, I think.
Yeah. Zeno does have more squirrels now, but only has managed to build 1 farm so far. So
it's still enough, I don't think.
Yeah, might still be enough. This is really close. It's going to hit 5 minutes now, so what was a small percentage lead in income is now a 20% percentage lead in income. And here we go with another fight. The toads aren't going to blow up. The one toad coming in from the side got very close, but does get taken out by that machine gun nest, unfortunately. But these squirrels from Chip are actually going to do the job. Although
Because the
Zeno's
pigeons.
reinforcements, yeah, the pigeons from
Zeno
Chip.
has no pigeons, that's why he lost his battle.
This is going to be close because the reinforcements are again. The reinforcements getting hit by these machine gun nests. Now Chip has to sell something to try and get a Warren up here. I think he needs to sell the toads, but he may not have the time to do it. Chip gets a farm, but it's his squirrels that have been doing great in these fights. He's going to try and take his MG nest, but Zeno is there to counter. Toad staying in the back, not doing anything against the lizards. 1 for 1 there. Oof, this is pretty rough.
Yeah,
Chip managed to gain some ground, but Zeno is still ahead.
Chip has to keep selling units to stay in this game, whereas Zeno can keep what he has. Definitely working out in Zeno's favor. But we'll see, there's a few more fights left in this, so we can see if Chip can pull it back. 1 toad does explode onto a single lizard, but I think this is going to be enough for Zeno to just take this fight. There's no more pigeons. Zeno has a slight squirrel lead, and that will just snowball into a larger squirrel lead. And once he can kill this base from Chip, he's going to go pull back. Sells the MG nest, but Chip is down to 2 squirrel warrens, a pigeon warren, and a toad warren. Doesn't have the units to reinforce, so probably Zeno holding on just long enough.
To
Yeah,
the last
Zeno-
squirrel they will fight. Sorry, go on, Captain.
ZenoAkoop ahead about 60-40 in terms of net worth right now.
That is a big lead. That is a big lead. Fire kind of spread here, but with that farm going down, this mill is going to go down, and that is going to be no way for Chip to come back from this. He is going to start starving here, and that is going to be it. So Zeno is up 3-2 now. He needs 1 more win to do this. And then we will see if Chip can pull it back and tie up the series again.
Interesting match so far. I think Zeno almost made a big mistake of floating too much food while he's realizing that he didn't need so much lizards. He sold lizards, but he didn't spend it right away, which caused the Chip to gain position. Because Zeno actually won the game like really fast early on, but almost that one mistake swung the game in Chip's favor back. And if Chip destroyed that MG nest with little to no losses, I think the Chip could have get in some ground, and from then on he could actually win the fight.
Alright. We only have 2 maps left.
Yeah, map
What is
will
the
be
choice?
No Tail's Land. ZenoAkoop's going to go for Bellafide Blue.
Seems like the safest choice for him. Alright, so we'll just have to set up this lobby again.
I hope
with
he
the
doesn't
correct
make the same
spots.
mistake as he did in semi-final match winners bracket.
Yes.
That is correct. No Tails Land is going to the map. Only one left is Hilltop.
Alright, so it looks like the seed is set. Players are ready up with the commanders of their choice.
They, I do believe, played this match like exactly in the same positions and on the same map.
Yes, I think
Semifinals.
that is correct. With Zeno doing a lot of work with ferrets on this map, I do believe.
Chip bringing in a boar, realizing that there's been too many squirrels in this game.
Alright, so now we have game number 6 in his best of 7. ZenoAkoop up 3-2. So if he wins this game, he will be champion for the second week in a row. And ChipFromSpace is going to be trying to win 2 tournaments back-to-back on Saturday and Sunday, but we will see how this plays out. Introducing our players, we have ChipFromSpace to the east of the map, and ZenoAkoop all the way up in the north as Bellafeed in blue. Right, so no Tails Land, a lot of open space with no real points of contention.
But no foxes. No foxes here.
No foxes and no tier 3 from Zeno, though Chip does have his uncle Butters. We'll see if we get...
Zeno,
Yeah, Zeno changing it up a little bit. He's been going 7 farm for most of this game, and now it's going to be... Nope, never mind.
Oh,
Zeno
yeah.
7 farm Warren, and Chip going 8 farm,
Eight,
because they
yeah.
did switch commanders, I think. So we'll see if Chip gets an early tier 3, which was his winning strategy last week. Right, just going to be tier 1. It's going to be the name of the game. Some nice commander dancing going on again. Banners flying in the wind. ZenoAkoop scouting squirrels, going back, and is going to add in squirrels. Because why not? Alright. Both players just going up to 9 squirrels and maybe looking to get tier 2 after that. Zeno building up some food. And Chip is going to go up to 12 squirrels. Nope, just mirror builds again. But Chip might be going for an attack here. So might have scouted this Warren on the low ground and went for it, but might not be enough. Chip is slightly ahead in this engagement. Zeno had to give the high ground fusion with his commander. Now Chip's units are kind of spread out, so it might not be the best fight to take. He's trying to poke away this Warren, but Zeno's reinforcements are going to come in, and Chip is going to back out. But he does take a small victory there. So Chip...
Which allowed them to actually get pigeons, and I think a lot of games have been dependent on pigeons, although Zeno is getting pigeons of his own, which kind of negates the thing.
Yeah, both players getting pigeons, but Chip is going to get 2 pigeon horns. Zeno is going to get a mill instead of another tier 1 Warren. So Chip's going to pull slightly ahead in army
Interesting
value.
that Chip scouted it behind a bit of his base, maybe looking a place to place his boar, and now he confirms that the squirrel count is high and may actually go ahead and maybe get a boar right now.
He does have quite a bit of food, so looks like that is what he's going to do. Exactly on 180 food. Plonks down the boar Warren. But Zeno is just going to scout it. So he does know that there is a tier 3 coming. But he doesn't have a tier 3 of his own, so what is going to be his answer? Farms, apparently.
Farms kill butter.
Yeah, Zeno's just going to go economy.
Maybe it wouldn't be too great if maybe Zeno misreads the situation of what Chip is building, because Chip hasn't showed the bear this tournament, and Zeno may be thinking maybe it's Fox or something he can deal with. Or...
Yeah, Zeno definitely scouted the tier 3 Warren. So
and he's adding more squirrels, so I think he's maybe gambling that is Fox, and he wants to get as much squirrels as possible in order to push the fox away,
I
which
suppose
would
that
work,
could be the
right?
play.
But versus the boar, it isn't a good answer, and it may cost him a game now.
Yeah, if he's expecting Fox, then just getting a bunch of farms and a bunch of tier 1, then that might be the answer, because you can just keep
Basically, if
reinforcing.
he's expecting anything but boar, right? A
Yep.
badger, wolf, owl,
If this
all
was
those.
last week, he would have expected a boar right away, but this is the first time we've seen it played in this tournament, so I don't think Zeno is expecting this, but he is going to get a lot of squirrels. So Chip is going to have to do some good micro here with his Uncle Butters. It is on the way, hits the road, goes jogging, and here it comes. It's going to start laying down flame, and this is where Zeno realizes he may not be expecting this. The squirrel count for Zeno is dropping fast. Chip has quite a few pigeons keeping his Uncle Butters alive, and now Zeno's down to 3 squirrels, 2 squirrels, whereas Chip still has 8. There's going to be a lot of reinforcements streaming in from Zeno, with pigeons keeping Uncle Butters alive. I think eventually Chip is going to be able to power through, although if Chip has to fire down on 1 squirrel at a time, it will take him quite a while to kill all these squirrels. Because Uncle Butters' strength is of course the AoE. Now Chip's reinforcements are coming in. Zeno's squirrel numbers are actually lower than Chip's despite having a lot more warrants, and it looks like Chip's Uncle Butters push is going to do it. It's going to take out Zeno's expansion. And that's going to be it.
Yeah, if it was anything but the boar, it would be in Zeno's favor, but since it was boar, it just...
Roasted. That is just
Exactly.
the strategy from last week, the early Uncle Butters punishing squirrel only completely. So nice switch up from Chip. And that's going to tie up the series. We're going to go to a game number 7. And we are going to see the final map being played, which is going to be Hilltop, since that's the only one left. And I believe... So Zeno lost this last match, so Zeno gets to pick the spawn pretty much, since there is no choice for the map. So game number 7 is going to be a deciding match. We've had quite the run up till now, a lot of different strategies.
Alright, it will be Hilltop, and ZenoAkoop is going to go for Bellafeed, which leaves ChipFromSpace as Hopper.
Alright. Like the map seed is set, so once ZenoAkoop rejoins the lobby, we can actually get started. And whew, game 7.
Let's get
Are we
hyped.
going to see a mole rush?
Seventh game Mole Rush. Why not?
Isn't that too much pressure for the Malverses? I mean, you're
Probably.
playing 3-3, and you really want to bring your best game, not like the
Probably.
mole thingies.
Yeah, I do remember the most ballsy mole rush we've seen was Deadbones when he was 1 game away from elimination in, was it November Knockout? It was. Deadbones going mole rush in an elimination game, and he pulled it off.
Zeno,
Yeah.
pretty consistent. Like, oh no, changes up a bit.
Alright. So we'll be playing Hilltop, which is only seen once so far, I think. Which you described as a really good lizard map, and Chip is going to go for lizards here.
Yeah, but Zeno strangely packs toads now, which he didn't, I think, in most of the games.
Yep, but probably recognizing that this is a lizard map. Okay, and with that, we have game number 7 between ChipFromSpace and ZenoAkoop. This time not changing commanders, so ChipFromSpace is going to be playing Hopper to the south of the map, whereas ZenoAkoop is playing Bellafeed in blue to the northeast. Okay, let's see what ends up happening. Chip going for a wolf for his tier 3 choice here.
Zeno with a fox.
Lizards with wolf buff are probably a good counter to fox.
Remember, whoever wins this game will be the champion of this week's tournament, which is the
And since we have a repeat of last week's finals, we will see if ZenoAkoop can stay the champion for 2 weeks in a row, or if ChipFromSpace can invert the score from last week. ZenoAkoop going 7 farm warren again, as we have come to expect by now, and Chip just going 8 farms before grabbing his first, probably tier 1, which is going to be squirrels. But yeah, I think ChipFromSpace actually has quite a few ways of dealing with Xeno's Fox if it does come into play. He has MG nests, he has Wolf Buff to speed up his units, to be able to catch up to it, so...
The problem is that the Hopper's army can be at multiple places at once in general, and Fox can abuse it. There's so many points on which to
True.
attack an expansion.
You need a lot of MG nests to shut out a Fox on this map. So we'll see if...
7 farm war and into squirrels.
I believe Chip went 8.
Oh, did he?
Yes. Chip is going to add in some lizards on top of his squirrels, and Zeno scouted it, going for some toads. But the lizards might be able to run around the toads on this map, so... We'll see if either player goes for early aggression, considering that this is the final game in what's been a pretty long series, or if they want to play it safe and go for a specific compositional time before attacking. It looks like Chip is going to go for a lizard run by.
Oh, that's a good spot there as well.
Oh, okay. Just placing his lizards in position, calling them onto what we consider to be the best expansion for Battlefield. Just going to hide them there for now. Isn't quite sure what to do with them yet. Zeno's army is very defensive.
Zeno making MG there, so I think he's planning to go for that expansion now, as you can clearly see. And he's gonna find the lizards there, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe he will just go
the
past
lizards
them.
do get aggroed, and okay, Chip sold his lizard warrens. What a play. So now, this is pretty scary for Chip. He has 3 squirrels, 3 pigeons, and half a falcon. And Zeno realized
I'm
that
not
he
sure why
sold his
didn't
lizards.
he sold like buy a couple MGs.
Yeah, he didn't buy
No,
any
it's a
MGs,
bit
so
too
it's maybe a
late.
mistake. Toads are coming in, some hit onto the warren, there are some squirrels dying. Zeno's just going to try and push in and brute force this. ChipFromSpace does lose a farm, but now it looks like Zeno kind of runs out of steam. His toads aren't going to get any more explosions. And with that, ZenoAkoop does get pushed back. And now it's
up
Chip
to
who can go on.
counterattack.
Yeah, counterattack from Chip. His warrens that he built earlier are going to start kicking in. He's down 1 farm, but he does have a fairly strong army with pigeon, squirrels, and falcon support. There we go.
I'm not sure if the Zeno selling the stuff was a good thing now, since
He sold some MG nests, which went up. I don't think the MG nests were in a great position, so Chip just picks off a warren. It's going to take a second one here. Geno's just going to let it happen. Chip threatening a 3rd warren does get it down. 1 toad explodes, so that's quite a bit of damage, but then Chip has to pull back his falcons. Both his falcons die. Both of Chip's falcons die, so that's a lot of his DPS gone, and now ChipFromSpace is going to be pushed back, but Zeno lost.
And now it's Zeno's turn to counterattack.
But if you look at the army numbers, it's pretty even. So I don't think Zeno has the edge on a counterattack, it's just Chip has 1 farm less than Zeno for a while now.
Yeah, Zeno now slightly ahead in economy, but otherwise both players at about even everything else.
And 5-minute mark is approaching as well.
Ooh, Chip selling one of his Falcon Warrens because he does need the food, and he's going to push forward onto this base, which may open up the map for Zeno.
No,
I think this position means Zeno can't take the base to the east, correct?
It depends whether he can contest that little choke, whether he has units. He has toads, which, works great in small chokes.
Okay, Zeno does believe he can get this base.
4 farms, maybe too greedy.
Chip he had a lot of food, so I think the army values are still even enough. It's going to take a while for Zeno to build up his squirrel count here. And I think Zeno wants to get these farms up first and foremost, even selling a squirrel warren to get some extra food. I think in a game 7 like this, you don't want to lose because you neglected your economy.
Yeah, so Zeno playing safe and matching the farms as well.
Both players.
And we have a longer game for us.
So no one really wants to lose, which is to be expected. Chip still has this 1 farm on his main base, which has never been rebuilt. Might not come into play. But Zeno just leaving his army in a very defensive position, Chip doing the same, and just building up farm numbers again. And it's going to be a second round of 1 base play, I guess. It's a lone MG nest. of holding the ground for ZenoAkoop. And I guess
Xeno's warrens are not in such a great position.
yeah,
Especially if Chip could maybe even build 3 lizards and just run them up. I think the MG's position is going to hold there, but if he decides to sell his warrens.
yeah, Zeno sells one of the MG nests, sells the MG nest and his Toad Warren because there are no more lizards, and he's going to go for a fox now. And Chip currently is not ready for a fox.
I think Xeno will try to replace his warrens slowly.
Yeah,
moving
it looks
them
like
over
that's
to
what
his
he's
side.
trying to do.
Chip will now scout and realize that there's a lot of warrens unprotected, and maybe get some lizards there. Even 3 lizards.
Oh, Chip does scout the
clear
tier 3
down.
here. So he kind of knows that's happening, but the question is, which units does he use to go and deal with these warrens? Or does he go for the warrens at all? He has to get... Oh, it looks like he's just going to go for a push here. Moving his army forward, he has 3 falcons right now, and Xeno's fox is going to be a little bit delayed. He's trying to build falcons at the same time, so with only 1 base worth of income, it does take a while. Xeno's fox does
Trying
start.
to get some big.
Yep. Chip ooh, does pick off 1 farm. Lost a few squirrels for it. Okay, and now his falcons are in a really good position. So he's just going to try and take this fight, but his machine gun nest isn't firing. Chip's falcons are mostly dead. Xeno has the falcon lead now, but Chip has the squirrel lead, and now the reinforcements are coming in for Chip, so it looks like it's going to be really close.
Down to the last squirrel, it seems.
Lost to the last squirrel and falcon, and Chip is going to be pushed back. And Xeno's fox is almost done.
Although Xeno killed a lot of army, he lost 2 farms for that.
But Xeno has his fox, so if Chip can't respond to this fox
On
in time...
low numbers, yeah, the fox is going to be really good now.
So now Chip has to start building, the MG nest right there. And either
Chip has
tank
kind of
is coming-
economy to, sustain some losses now
Yep.
with squirrels.
Alright, so Chip doesn't lose any farms, which I think is the big story here.
If Xeno can bring falcons and fox to the bottom, he could snipe a lot of pigs without
True.
Chip being able to retaliate at all.
A little bit risky from Xeno, but the risk does pay off. He snipes a single farm.
Very tense here. Whoever wins this will be the champion. Last game in a best of 7.
Chip has to be careful not to lose any falcons here.
And
But,
Xeno doesn't have pigeons to kill his fox.
Yeah, very good point. So he has to be... I mean, he has a lot of territory control here, so his fox is going to be healing most of the time, but still only 1 HP every 2 seconds. Is not all that much. Xeno's going to try and add in some ferrets.
Xeno, is bringing his falcons as well, as you can see. Maybe he realizes that. Oh, he has.
Yeah, it's a falcon. Yeah, he has falcon.
He
and
can
ferret,
siege
so...
this slowly as well.
Ooh, so now Chip sold his MG nest, so now he's going to start losing farms. He loses a falcon as well. Losing a pig. Going to lose a few squirrels now. What is Chip going to do with this? He has a bunch of squirrels, but
He doesn't have a lot of options here.
Yeah. Xeno very smartly having the ferrets to deal with the MG nests, and now
I think
I
Fox
think-
here did
yeah.
win the game.
Fox and ferret pressure is eventually just going to slowly step out ChipFromSpace. We do have a last fight coming up. Chip does have a few more falcons, but most of them completely get roasted. Chip has no more units left, and it looks like ZenoAkoop is ready to take it, and ZenoAkoop is going to be your map draft champion in an epic 7-game series against ChipFromSpace.